Okay, Hare Krishna. So let's get started, and then devotees can join. So today is Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day. So today is a day when we want to try to remember Srila Prabhupada and also try to remember his instructions. Srila Prabhupada is always with us, and he is there with us in the form of his books and also through his instructions. So there are two ways in which Srila Prabhupada gives us his association. One is through Vani and one is through Vapu. And Vapu is the physical association when Srila Prabhupada was here, and Vani is through his voice or through his wonderful books. So today, let us get his association through Vani, and we will be reading from the Krishna book. Let me share my screen. Can you all see my screen? Okay, let's start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Punyavadi Pashyata Deshatari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Shri Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Prabhupada ki Jai. Are you able to see my screen, Mataji? Worshipping Govardhan Hill?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, all right, let's start reading. Okay, part you want to read?
While engaged with the Brahmanas
Sorry.
who were too much involved in the performance of Vedic sacrifices, Krishna.
So just so you all know, we are reading from the Krishna book, chapter 24, which is titled Worshipping Govardhan Hill. Okay, part continue. Yeah, please read.
Okay. While engaged with the Brahmanas who were too much involved in the performance of Vedic sacrifices, Krishna and Balaram also saw that the cowherd men were preparing a similar sacrifice in order to pacify Indra, the king of heaven, who is responsible for supplying water. As stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, a devotee of Krishna has strong and firm faith in the understanding that if he is simply engaged in Krishna consciousness and Krishna's transcendental loving service, then he is freed from all other obligations. A pure devotee of Lord Krishna doesn't have to perform any type of ritualistic functions enjoined in Vedas, nor is he required to worship any demigods. Being a devotee of Lord Krishna, one is understood to have performed all kinds of Vedic rituals and all kinds of worship to the demigods. One does not develop devotional service for Krishna by performing the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies or worshipping the demigods, but it should be understood that one who is engaged fully in the service of the Lord has already fulfilled all Vedic injunctions.
Okay, everyone.
Okay. In order to stop all such activities by his devotees, Krishna wanted to firmly establish exclusive devotional service during his presence in Vrindavan. Because he is the omniscient personality of Godhead, Krishna knew that the cowherd men were preparing for the Indra sacrifice, but as a matter of etiquette, he began to inquire with great honor and submission from elder personalities like Maharaj Nanda.
So Hare Krishna, Priyanka Mataji. Welcome. So
Ji.
we're reading from Krishna book, chapter 24.
Mhm.
We are reading the pastime where all the Vrajvasis are just getting ready to worship Indra. And Krishna is now going to ask his father that what is this great sacrifice and why are we worshipping Indra?
Okay.
So we are here now. Yeah, I'll read. Krishna asked his father, "My dear father, what is this arrangement going on for a great sacrifice? What is the result of such a sacrifice and for whom is it meant? How is it performed? Will you kindly let me know? I am very eager to know this procedure, so please explain to me the purpose of the sacrifice." Upon this inquiry, his father Nanda Maharaj remained silent, thinking that his young boy would not be able to understand the intricacies of performing the yajna. Krishna, however, persisted. Quote, "My dear father, for those who are liberal and saintly, there is no secrecy. They do not think anyone to be a friend, an enemy, or a neutral party, because they are always open to everyone. And even for those who are not so liberal, nothing should be kept secret from the family members and friends, although secrecy may be maintained for persons who are inimical. Therefore, you cannot keep any secrets from me. All persons are engaged in fruitive activities. Some know what these activities are and they know the results, and some execute activities without knowing the purpose or the result. A person who acts with full knowledge gets the full result. One who acts without knowledge does not get such a perfect result. Therefore, please let me know the purpose of the sacrifice you are going to perform. Is it according to Vedic injunction or is it simply a popular ceremony? Kindly let me know in detail about the sacrifice.
On hearing this inquiry from Krishna, Maharaj Nanda replied, "My dear boy, this ceremonial performance is more or less traditional. Because rainfall is due to the mercy of King Indra, and the clouds are his representatives, and because water is so important for our living, we must show some gratitude to the controller of this rainfall, Maharaj Indra. We are arranging, therefore, to pacify King Indra, because he has very kindly sent us clouds to pour down a sufficient quantity of rain for successful agricultural activities. Water is very important. Without rainfall, we cannot farm or produce grain, and without grain, we cannot live. Therefore, rain is necessary for successful religious ceremonies, economic development, and ultimately liberation. So we should not give up this traditional ceremonial function. If one gives it up, being influenced by lust, greed, or fear, then it does
Not
not
look
look
good,
good,
very good for him.
did not look very good for him.
After hearing this, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the presence of his father and all the elder cowherd men of Vrindavan, spoke in such a way as to make the heavenly king Indra very angry. He suggested that they forego the sacrifice. His reasons for discouraging the sacrifice performed to please Indra were twofold. First, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, there is no need to worship the demigods for any material advancement. All results derived from worshipping demigods are simply temporary, and only those who are less intelligent and interested in temporary results. Second, whatever temporary result one derives from worshipping the demigods is actually granted by the permission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is clearly stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Mayavya Vihitan Hitan. Whatever benefit is supposed to be derived from the demigods is actually bestowed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Without the permission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we cannot bestow benefit upon others. Sometimes the demigods become puffed up by the influence of material nature, thinking themselves in all thinking themselves all in all. They forget the supremacy of the personality of Godhead. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is clearly stated that in this instance, Krishna wanted to make King Indra angry. Krishna's advent was especially meant for the annihilation of the demigods and the protection of the devotees.
Annihilation of the
Demons and protection of the devotees. King Indra was certainly a devotee, not a demon, but because he was puffed up, Krishna wanted to teach him a lesson. First, he made Indra angry by stopping the Indra Puja, which had been arranged by the cowherd men in Vrindavan.
Okay, so far what we've read is the puja is about to start, Indra Puja. Krishna is gone and he is asking his father Nanda Maharaj that what is this wonderful yagya which is about to happen, and can you please explain to me what you're doing? So first Nanda Maharaj shared that you're such a small boy, you cannot learn. And he was so persistent, Krishna was so persistent. Then Nanda Maharaj explained that we are actually performing this yagya to Indra because he provides us rain, and rain is very important for grains, for taking care of the animals. But then Krishna spoke to his father in such a way that it would make King Indra angry. And he said that what is the need to actually pray to Indra because he's just a demigod? Okay, so everybody's good so far? Okay. With this purpose in mind, Krishna began to talk as if he were an atheist, supporting the philosophy of karma mimamsa. Advocates of this philosophy do not accept the supreme authority of the personality of Godhead. They put forward the argument that if anyone works nicely, the result is sure to come. Their opinion is that even if there is a God who gives man the result of his fruitive activities, there is no need to worship him, because unless man works, he cannot bestow any good result. This is Krishna is giving his views why we should not pray to Indra. They say that instead of worshipping a demigod or god, people should give attention to their own duties, and thus the good results will surely come. Lord Krishna began to speak to his father according to these principles of the Karma Mimamsa philosophy. Quote, "My dear father," he said, "I don't think you need to worship any demigod for the successful performance of your agricultural activities. Every living being is born according to his past karma and leaves this life simply taking the result of his present karma. Everyone is born in different types or species of life according to his past activities, and he gets his next birth according to the activities of this life. Different grades of material happiness and distress, comforts and disadvantages of life are different results of different kinds of activities from either the past or the present life." Is it true?
Right.
It's true, right? Krishna said something true. Okay. Okay, Priyanka Mataji, would you like to read?
Yeah,
अम्मा खाना में क्या है?
it's 1 minute food.
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा.
Rice. आगे नीचे rice में plate लगा दो बल्कि.
मैं मेरे को खाना नहीं.
Okay. So Maharaj Nand and other elder members argued that without satisfying the predominating God, one cannot derive any good results simple by material activities. This is actually the fact. For example, it is sometimes found that in spite of first-class medical help and treatment by a first-class physician, a deceased person dies. It is concluded, therefore, that first-class medical treatment or the attempts of a first-class physician are not in themselves the cause for curing a patient. There must be the hand of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, a father's and a mother's taking care of their children is not the cause of children's comfort. Sometimes it is found that in spite of all care by the parents, the children go bad or succumb to. Therefore, material causes are not sufficient for results. There must be the sanction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nand Maharaj therefore advocated that in order to get good results for agricultural activities, they must satisfy Indra, the superintending deity of the rain supply. Lord Krishna nullified this argument, saying that the demigods give results only to persons who have executed their prescribed duties. The demigods cannot give any good results to the person who has not executed the prescribed duties. Therefore, demigods are dependent on the execution of duties and are not absolute in awarding good results to anyone. So why should one care about them?
So first argument Krishna put was we don't need to
Worship
pray
the
to
demigods.
God because anyway we
Because
have
anyway,
karma.
right.
Whatever karma we have done
And it
is
says in
like
the
a karma.
Bhagavad Gita.
So then his father said, no, everything is actually coming from the demigod. So that's why there's a superintendent deity of rain. So that's why we have to pray to Indra. Okay, next. Anybody else can read? Shweta Mataji, Renuka Mataji, Bhaktipriya Mataji. If you cannot read, that's okay. We'll read. You can listen.
But can I ask a question?
Yes.
So even like when Janak Maharaj was there, he's one of the Mahajans, but still when he was ruling at that time also there was a drought situation which is mentioned, and that's how they started digging the land. So he's a Mahajan, he's a great saint. So why did that happen to him? Just for the pastime, for the Leela?
Yes. So many times pure devotees of Krishna, they are playing a part. And the part they're playing is because Krishna wants everybody to learn from those pastimes. A very nice example is of the great friend Arjuna. Arjuna was such a great Kshatriya that he had prepared all his life for one and only one output. And the result he was looking for was to fight in a great war. And when that great war had come, he was put under the influence of Yogamaya for the purpose of teaching the mankind. And that is when Krishna was able to speak the Bhagavad Gita. So similarly, in this case, externally it looked like there's a drought. So that way Janak Maharaj could, plow the land. However, Mother Sita, Ram, Krishna, Radharani, they don't need a cause to actually appear. But just so the general populace can actually relate, they try to go through those, they're put under those yogamaya. That's what happened. Okay, let us continue.
Can I read?
I'll read.
Similarly, Prabhu,
Yes, Shweta Mataji, you can read.
my dear father, Lord Krishna said, there is no need to worship the demigod Indra. Everyone has to achieve the result of his own work. We can actually see that one becomes busy according to the natural tendency of his work. And according to that natural tendency, all living entities, whether human beings or demigods, achieve their respective results. All living entities achieve higher or lower bodies and create enemies, friends, or neutral parties only because of their different kinds of work. One should be careful to discharge duties according to his natural uh, instinct and not divert attention to the worship of various demigods. The demigods will be satisfied by proper execution of all duties, so there is no need to worship them. Let us rather perform our prescribed duties very nicely. Actually, one cannot be happy without executing his proper prescribed duty. Who does not, one who does not, therefore, properly discharge his prescribed duties is compared to an unchaste wife. The proper prescribed duty of the Vedas, the proper duty of the royal order, the Kshatriyas is engagement in
Up, Mataji.
In protecting the citizens. The proper duty of the Vaishya community is agriculture, trade and protection of the cows, and the proper duty of the Shudras is service to the higher classes, namely the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas. We belong to the Vaishya community, and our proper duty is to farm, trade agricultural produce, and protect cows, or to take to banking.
Krishna identified himself with the Vaishya community because Nanda Maharaj was protecting many cows and Krishna was taking care of them. He enumerated four kinds of business engagements for the Vaishya community, namely agriculture, trade, protection of cows, and banking. All the Vaishyas can take to any of these occupations. The men of Vrindavan were engaged primarily in the protection of cows.
Krishna further explained to his father, this cosmic manifestation, this cosmic manifestation is going on under the influence of the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. These three modes are the causes of creation, maintenance, and destruction. The cloud is caused by the action of the mode of passion. Therefore, it is the mode of passion which causes the rainfall. And after the rainfall, the living entity derive the result: success in agricultural work. What then has Indra to do with this affair?
So I hope you're understanding the logic. So Krishna is trying to tell his father, actually everything is happening by our work. Like the rain is happening when because by the action of the mode of passion. By mode of passion, the living entities derive work, and that's why we are getting rain. So what has Indra to do this affair?
Right.
Yeah.
Even if you do not please Indra, what can he do? We do not derive of any special benefit from Indra. Even if he is there, he pours water on the ocean also, where there is no need of water.
Like there's no need of water in the
Right.
ocean, but still he's pouring. So is he really doing any job? He's pouring anyway.
So he is pouring water on the ocean or on the land. It does not depend on our worshipping him. As we are concerned, we do not need to go to another city or village or foreign country. They are palatial buildings in the city. But we are satisfied living in this forest of Vrindavan. Our specific relationship is with Govardhan Hill and Vrindavan forest, and nothing more. I therefore request you, my dear father, to begin a sacrifice which will satisfy the local Brahmanas and Govardhan Hill, and let us have nothing to do with Indra.
So he has now come to the point that because we are having this specific relationship with Govardhan and Vrindavan, that's the reason why we have to not pray to Indra, but we should pray to Govardhan Hill.
Right.
Okay. You can read two.
Me?
Hare Krishna. Can I read Prabhuji? It's a small one, but I can read it.
Mataji, go ahead.
After hearing after hearing the statement of Krishna, then Maharaj replied, "Sanket Lord, since you are asking, I shall arrange for a sacred sacrifice for us for the local Brahma and Govardhan Hill. But for the present, let me execute this sacrifice known as Hindri." But Krishna replied, "My dear father, please delay. The sacrifice you propose for Govardhan and the local family will take much time. Better take the arrangement then paraphernalia you have already made for the Yajna that immediately engage them to satisfy Govardhan's needs to the local Brahman." Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay.
Maharaj Nanda finally relented. The cowherd men then inquired from Krishna how he wanted the yajna performed, and Krishna gave them the following directions. Prepare very nice foods of all descriptions from the grain and ghee collected for the yajna. Prepare rice, dal, then halwa, pakoda, puri, and all kinds of milk preparations such as sweet rice, rabri, sweet balls, sandesh, rasgulla, and laddu, and invite the learned brahmanas who can chant the Vedic hymns, and offer oblations to the fire. The Brahmanas should be given all kinds of grain in charity. Then decorate all the cows and feed them well. After performing this, give money in charity to the Brahmanas. As far as the lower animals are concerned, such as the dogs and lower grades of people, such as the Chandalas or the fifth class of men who are considered untouchables, they also may be given sumptuous prasadam. After nice grasses have been given to the cows, the sacrifice known as Govardhan Puja may immediately begin. This sacrifice will very much satisfy me.
So that's why we do Govardhan Puja, because it satisfies Krishna so much. And this is the process of how to do Govardhan Puja. Prepare rice, dal, halwa, pakoda, puri, milk preparations, everything, right? And invite learned brahmanas who can chant the Vedic hymns, offer oblations to fire. So we have a fire yagya, and then we are offering all to Krishna. Okay. In this statement, Lord Krishna practically described the whole economy of the Vaishya community. In all communities in human society, including the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, Chandalas, etc., and in the animal kingdom, including the cows, dogs, goats, etc., everyone has his part to play, his or her part to play. Each is to work in cooperation for the total benefit of all society, which includes not only animate objects, but also inanimate objects like hills and land. The Vaishya community is specifically responsible for the economic improvement of the society by producing grain, by giving protection to the cows, by transporting food when needed, and by banking and finance. Priyanka Mataji.
From this statement, we learn also that although the cats and dogs, which have now become so important, are not to be neglected, cow protection is actually more important than protection of cats and dogs. Another hint we get from this statement is that the Chandalas or the untouchables are also not to be neglected by the higher classes and should be given necessary protection. Everyone is important, but some are directly responsible for the advancement of human society and some are indirectly responsible. However, when Krishna consciousness is there, then everyone's total benefit is taken care of.
The sacrifice known as Govardhan Puja is observed in Krishna consciousness movement. Lord Chaitanya has recommended that since Krishna is worshipable, so his land, Vrindavan and Govardhan Hill, is also worshipable. To confirm this statement, Lord Krishna said that Govardhan Puja is as good as worship of him. From that day, Govardhan Puja has been going on and is known as Annakut. In all the temples of Vrindavan or outside of Vrindavan, huge quantities of food are prepared in this ceremony and very sumptuously distributed to the general population. Sometimes the food is thrown to the crowds and they enjoy collecting it off the ground. From this, we can understand that prasadam offered to Krishna never becomes polluted or contaminated, even if it is thrown on the ground. The people therefore collect and eat it with great satisfaction.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, thus advised the cowherd men to stop the Indra Yagya and begin the Govardhan Puja in order to chastise Indra, who was very much puffed up at being the supreme controller of the heavenly planets. The honest and simple cowherd men, headed by Nanda Maharaj, accepted Krishna's proposal and executed in detail everything he advised. They then performed Govardhan worship and circumambulation of the hill. Following the inauguration of Govardhan Puja, people in Vrindavan still dress nicely and assemble near Govardhan Hill to offer worship and circumambulate the hill, leading their cows all around. According to the instruction of Lord Krishna, Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd men called in learned brahmanas and began to worship Govardhan Hill by chanting Vedic hymns and offering prasadam. The inhabitants of Vrindavan assembled together, decorated their cows, and gave them grass. Keeping the cows in front, they began to circumambulate Govardhan Hill. The gopis dressed themselves very luxuriantly and sat in bull-driven carts, chanting the glories of Krishna's pastime. The Brahmanas assembled there to act as priests for Govardhan Puja, offered their blessings to the cowherd men and their wives, the gopis.
When everything was complete, Krishna assumed a great transcendental form and declared to the inhabitants of Vrindavan that he was himself Govardhan Hill, in order to convince the devotees that Govardhan Hill and Krishna himself are identical.
So this is a very important point. A lot of times we hear, is Govardhan Hill a devotee or is Govardhan Hill Krishna himself? So there are different things which our acharyas explain, but to keep it simple here, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that here Krishna himself was declaring to all the inhabitants that he was himself Govardhan Hill. So whenever we pray to Govardhan Hill, we can pray that this is Krishna himself. Okay.
Okay. Then Krishna began to eat all the food offered there. The identity of Krishna and Govardhan Hill is still honored, and great devotees take rocks from Govardhan Hill and worship them exactly as a deity of worship the deity of
Reread that
okay.
line. The
The
identity of
identity of
Krishna
Krishna and Govardhan Hill is still honored, and great devotees take rocks from Govardhan Hill and worship them exactly as they worship the deities of Krishna in the temple. The followers of the Krishna consciousness movement may therefore collect small rocks or pebbles from Govardhan Hill and worship them at home. Because this worship is as good as deity worship, the form of Krishna who began to eat the offerings was separately constituted, and Krishna himself, along with the other inhabitants of Vrindavan, offered obeisances to the deity, as well as Govardhan Hill. In offering obeisances to the huge form of Krishna and Govardhan Hill, Krishna declared, quote, "Just see how Govardhan Hill is assumed. This huge form is favoring us by accepting all the offerings." Krishna also declared that at that meeting, quote, "One who neglects the worship of Govardhan Puja, as I am personally conducting it, will not be happy."
Krishna also declared this, see, that one who is neglecting the worship of Govardhan Puja as he himself is conducting personally, that person will not be happy. Do you want to be happy?
Yeah.
So what we have to do? Worship the Govardhan Puja. Okay.
There are many snakes on Govardhan Hill, and persons neglecting the prescribed duty of Govardhan Hill will
Puja.
be of the prescribed duty of Govardhan Puja will be bitten by the snakes and killed. In order to assure the good fortune of the cows and themselves, all people of Vrindavan near Govardhan must worship the hill as prescribed by nature.
Thus performing the Govardhan Puja sacrifice, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan followed the instructions of Krishna, the son of Vasudev, and afterwards they returned to their respective homes. Thus ends the
Bhaktivedanta purport of the 24th chapter of Krishna, worshipping Govardhan Hill.
Jai. Govardhan Puja ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Hey.
So let us take like a minute, everybody, and everybody can share their reflections from what you read, what you heard, anything which you're taking away for today. So yeah, Vivan, you want to go first? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So my takeaway from this reading was that you should always follow Govardhan Puja and do it like however you can do it, but preferably how Krishna did, preferring a big feast and honoring Govardhan Hill. And also you should not worship the demigods because one, they don't give you the results because Krishna does, and two, they're not like the origin of everything. You should pray to Krishna instead.
Nice. Okay.
Point.
All right.
So what I took away from the Krishna book reading that we read was that you have to have faith whenever you worship, because then only you will want to worship. And if you don't worship Govardhan Hill, then you can be bitten by snakes and killed. Also, like it said in the Krishna book, don't worship demigods, because demigods won't give you material advancement, but it is much better if you worship Krishna with the love.
Okay. Priyanka Mataji.
Krishu wants to show how Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill. Show.
Okay, show us.
With one hand.
Was it right hand or left hand?
You tell. I don't know.
Right.
Left.
Left hand.
Left pinky.
Left pinky.
I also end the pinky on this one.
So my takeaway from this pastime is that we do not need to worship the demigods. It is not required. Everything, if you are worshipping Krishna, then he will take care of everything. Like an officer is doing his job and is hired. Similarly, demigods are also doing their duty. So we do not need to, go out of our way and offer them separately. So worshipping Krishna in itself is enough. And yes, whenever we are worshipping Krishna, we should make some nice prasadam and try to make him happy.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Shweta Mataji, would you like to share?
No, Prabhu.
Okay. Renuka Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Everybody has covered pretty much everything, but my takeaway is like we should always follow and worship Krishna, and we shouldn't kind of pray to demigods, or we shouldn't worship demigods out of fear, because we should always trust Krishna that He's always there to take care of us, and then if Krishna is there, then everything will be taken, no matter how hard the situation is.
Nice. Thank you, Mataji. So my takeaway was I really appreciated the point how Srila Prabhupada has explained that earlier the Vrindavan Vasis, led by Nanda Maharaj, were trying to pray to Indra, but Krishna was able to convince them that you should not be praying to Indra, even though this was something which was happening for so many years. So my reflection here was we as devotees will find so many people in our lives who will have opposing views. But from the strength of the Shastras, we should be able to read the Shastras and understand the Shastras so well that we should be able to give them convincing reasons on why you should follow devotional service and practices. That was my thing, so nicely he was able to convince, and all the devotees in Vrindavan very happily they performed Govardhan Puja. Nobody was feeling like, oh, we're missing out. Maybe Madhu Mangal, right? But everybody was doing it. But Madhu Mangal also was playing a part, right? So, and we are so grateful to our dear founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada that he took so much effort and hard work to translate these books and explain these books to us. And it is only because of his compassion and his taking his instruction of his guru as his life and soul that he came here to the West and he saved all of us. So on this special day, we pray at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada to kindly empower us and give us the strength to be able to take his instructions to our heart and follow his instructions in such a way that we not only try to make our life perfect, but we're also able to make the life perfect of people who are around us and give them the right environment so they're able to come a little bit closer to Krishna. Everybody who agrees in whole or part, please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All right. Thank you, devotees. Hope you all have a wonderful Krishna conscious day. Hari
Yeah.
Bol.
Be
Thank you.
well.
Hare Bol. Thank you, you too, Prabhuji.